What's going on, YouTube? So when someone mentions a flagship luxury SUV, likely the first thing that comes to mind is the Cadillac Escalade.
And that's exactly why we make a point to spend time with it every single year. And today we have the latest 2026 model.
So with new trim levels this year, does this continue to be the best large luxury SUV? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, let's kick things off here with a quick spec dump. So for 2026, you can continue to get the Escalade with two different powertrain options. We have by far the most common one. That's the 6.2-liter V8 engine, making 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and with the available 4x4 system, it gets 16 miles per gallon combined.
Now, the base price of the Escalade in 2026 is $91,000. And if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, later on, we're going to take this Escalade out for a spin to show you what it's like behind the wheel. And while we're on that spin, we'll also get things like our sound level reading.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because we need to take a look at the exterior as well as the very luxurious interior. So jumping right in with the exterior, I want to start off by talking a little bit about the trim levels. We mentioned in the introduction that they are changed for 2026. And what those changes are, basically there's a new base model. That's going to be referred to as 1SA. That's just, like I said, the base model. The luxury is now one level up from that. And then your platinum trim levels, so those are now going to be the kind of the primary version of the trim, and then you add on to that the sport or the luxury, just to kind of clarify the trim structure and bring it in line with the latest Cadillac. Now, this right here is known as the Platinum Sport for 2026. That means you're going to see a lot of dark-end and aggressive elements, including the large black grille through here. We have the monochrome badging right there. And then you can also get grille illumination as well. Now, speaking of the lighting, let's go over here to our headlights. So as you can see, we've got a beautiful crystal LED arrangement. This was added with the refresh. They kind of adjust the elements, but we have a ton of crystals running through there. You have your signature daytime running light and turn signal indicator going down through there. And of course, this is going to have lots of animations as we come to expect from Cadillac. And then as we walk around to the back, it continues with that signature Escalade design.
Absolutely, and because we have the sport model, a few of the elements are going to be blacked out for that sportier design theme. We have a spoiler up here at the top, a rear wiper is integrated underneath. And let's take a look at our tail lights for the Escalade. Of course, that's a signature element with this model, the full-length LED tail lights. These, of course, are very intricate and beautiful in design, and every element is LED, including your brake light, your turn signal, and your LED reverse light. They, of course, also have animations. And as we drop down to the lower diffuser area, all of this is going to be blacked out here on the sport model. You have dual integrated exhaust outlets that are also blacked out, and your max towing is 8,100 pounds.
Now, flagship luxury is all about having choices, and the Escalade certainly gives you a lot of choices for the wheel designs. You're going to start out with 22-inch alloys. However, you can option on some 24-inch alloy options. You actually have many different designs you can choose from. That's what we have today. We've got this full gloss black 24, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. Obviously, the Escalade has a big body, and this fills out that wheel area a lot better. Now, as far as right here, we've got a little bit more badging, and of course our mirrors are fully loaded with all the equipment you expect, including auto dimming and power folding.
Now, at the side of the Escalade, of course, this is a big SUV. It's about 212 inches long in the standard wheelbase form, and if you want extra space, you can also get the ESV, which will extend that out to about 227 inches in length. So it's a very big product with a lot of space. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. We have blacked out window surrounds because we have the Sport Platinum model. We also have the blacked out roof rails up top with the crossbars installed. And I do want to point out that we do have a new paint color for 2026. It's called Vibrant White Tri-Coat. So that's going to be a new addition to the Escalade lineup. Now let's talk about safety, because that's an important part as well. You have all of your active safety features as standard equipment, and that will also include a very nice standard feature of Super Cruise, and that's going to be free for 3 years on all Escalades. But guys, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to interior luxury, so let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, let's check out the interior next. First, here's our key fob. It's your typical Cadillac key fob. Of course, you have a standard smart entry system with a remote start system as well. And then as we walk up to the vehicle here, I've got some things to talk about. So one of the nice things about getting the platinum trim levels is the fact that you have the full power door now. So you can actually just reach behind there, pinch that, and it will go ahead and swing open, allowing you to enter inside the vehicle itself. Another thing that includes is a soft close door, and then we also have a power deploying running board. That's on all but the base trim level. Now let's check out this beautiful interior. Just like with many elements on the outside, you have a lot of customizability in terms of your choices with the interior, and I'll start by kind of describing some of your seating options. So just the base trim will start out with a leatherette. As you move up the trims, you come to a real leather, and then we have the semi-aniline leather here on the platinum trim today. We have this beautiful quilted design running throughout with lots of stitching details. It's a very premium feel for sure. And you've got a lot of different color choices that you can pick. Down below we have a 12-way power adjusting seat, and then we also have this button right here which activates our massage function. But let's go ahead and climb on inside. And one of the nice things with the power door is that you can put your foot on the brake and that will actually just close up the door for you. The last one we reviewed did not have this activated last year, but the software is now fully on this 2026. All right, so let's take a look at materials. So over here on the door trim, we have a nice leather material. We have a cloth trim that runs through the center section. And then the platinum is going to give you lots of leather, so you have that all across the door trim through there. As we move to the upper dashboard, this is all finished in a leather material. We have a big old beautiful piece of this wood veneer. This is kind of a gloss finish, but it looks really nice. You can get some different finishes as well. Leather through here, more wood and leather, and then we have a little bit of cloth trim, adding that texture and contrast to the interior. And now we'll fire it up with the push button start. Now let's go ahead and dig into some individual details of the interior, and we'll start with what is undoubtedly the biggest element of the cabin. That, of course, is this absolutely enormous display system. So this, in total, is 55 inches of screen. And I'll kind of break down what each of these sections does in a second, but we'll start with the gauge cluster as always. As you can see, right now we're kind of in the traditional view, but what I'll go ahead and do is pull up our other options, and you can see we have tons of different things that we can put in there, including the maps view. I think a lot of people really like this one, the AR camera, so you get that live camera stream out the front, helping you with visibility with this very large SUV. Now up top here we have a head-up display. This is standard on all but that base trim of the Escalade. And then as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the premium version of the steering wheel with all the full real leather treatment, including right here on the airbag cover. You also have your Super Cruise right there at the top. And this is the two-spoke design that was updated last year. Now the wheel itself is power tilt and telescoping across the entire lineup, and also all of the models will come with steering wheel heating. Now this, of course, is a very big SUV, so let's check out that interior storage. We'll open up first our center console. So normally you're going to have a little bit more storage than this, but on today's tester we've actually optioned on the available cool box. So what this does is kind of give you a little mini fridge in the console, and you can turn that on right there with a couple different levels. This is about a $700 option on this model, and even then you still have a lot of storage space. So we have this loaded with donuts, of course, because we like to do the signature Car Confections donut test, and this fits inside 15 donuts, so still quite good for that functionality. Now, of course, you have a lot of little odd and end places to store things. You've got this big pit right here. You have your two cup holders. a wireless phone charging pad there. You have some more storage that's going to be behind this pop-up display, and then you have storage on both sides of the console here, although it's not a full pass-through situation. The shifter is up here on the column. It's the electronic style like all the other Cadillac models. Just pull down for drive. You have paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel if that's your jam. And then when we go into reverse, that will pull up our standard 360-degree camera system. Like I said, that's standard on all trims for 2026. And as you can see, you have the active trajectory as well as that overhead view, and you can switch between a few different other options through there, although the display itself could probably be a little bit larger. Press that P on the end of the stalk for park. You also have a brake hold system and an electronic parking brake. Now in the same area as our auto hold system, you'll notice we have a physical volume knob, but that's going to control a couple different audio systems. We have the up-level 38 speaker AKG audio system that's included on the Platinum trim levels, and let's give that a sample right now. Very, very nice. Every time we're in an Escalade, we always find it a great joy to put your music on and just listen to this awesome sounding sound system. As you'd expect with 38 speakers, you have speakers pretty much everywhere, including Mason was highlighting in the headrest and up there above your head in the headliner. Beautiful metal speaker grills, and it really just has a tremendous sound that's super balanced and detailed. All right, so let's kind of zero in next on our climate screen. So if 55 inches of screen wasn't enough for you, Cadillac gives you another screen down here. It has several functions. The main one is the climate system, which is a standard 3-zone automatic system. You just tap, of course, up and down to adjust the temperature, and you can control the rear from the front as well. It gives you haptic feedback when you engage with it. We also have our seat controls all located right here. So you have standard heated seats. You have vented seats on all but the base trim level, and then that's our heated steering wheel. This is also where we have the ability to customize our massage and some position functions for driver and passenger. Now, additionally, we have some other controls inside of this screen. You can see those are some general controls, including for the available night vision system. You also have some parking functions right there, and then the door function is one of the more interesting ones. So, we have the power doors. One of the things that gives you the ability to do is if you're dropping off your kids or something like that, you can just simply go right there, flick it, and open up the door and say, "Get out," and then close up that door. So, pretty nice feature. It certainly feels very flagship, right? Now, as we continue on our tour, we'll come to the center section of the 55-inch display. This serves as our traditional infotainment system. One of the critical things I want to point out is this does have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Since it's a traditional gas-powered GM vehicle, the electric vehicles have eliminated those functions. Now, if you don't want to use that, you can go to the main Cadillac system, which has a lot of functionalities. It has Google built in, so you have things like Google Maps natively inside of the system itself. And I can show you what that looks like by clicking right there. Of course, you have to agree to your usual assortment of notifications, but there you go, nice crisp display. Then we have this side, which is our passenger display. So this one is going to be used primarily for entertainment purposes. You can stream different types of content, things like that. Very similar to the experience you get with these displays in the back seats. Now up top, we have a camera version of the auto-dimming mirror. That's included on all but the base trim level. And then let me go ahead and slide back the sunshade for the panoramic sunroof. This is standard on all but the base model of the Escalade. The front panel does open up, and as you can see, unlike the Escalade IQ, this has a sunshade.
And now we've got to talk about the rear seats of the Escalade. This is a flagship level product after all, so there's of course a lot of space and a lot of features. Let's first of all start by talking about the space figures. So we're sitting at about 42 inches of legroom and about 39 inches of headroom. That is unchanged for 2026, but it's certainly a good amount of space. It's very much on par with all of its main competition, and it's definitely going to be enough room for really any adult back here. We, of course, brought along the official Car Confections ruler. The reason we do that is so we can get a realistic knee room figure for you. This seat is adjusted to Drew's 5'8" driving position. I am 5'9" for reference, and we are looking at a solid 9 inches of knee room. We also do have room for my feet to slide up underneath of the seat, and these seats, by the way, do slide forward and back quite a good distance, and they also have quite a good reclining function as well, so you can really take some epic naps back here in the Escalade. Now, if you want to have even more epic naps, Cadillac is going to be offering a $7,500 executive rear seating package. That's going to give you things like massaging back seats, ventilation in the back, as well as things like stowable tray tables to really bougie-fy your rear experience to give you that executive-like transport. Now, here in the center, we do have our own climate controls. Heated back seats are pretty much standard on every single Escalade. And then if we drop down below, you have 2 cup holders. All of this is nicely leather wrapped as well. I like that. We have 2 HDMIs, 2 USB-Cs, and a household style outlet as well. And then let's take a look at this. The Platinum grade will give you these standard dual rear entertainment screens. They're about 12.6 inches. They have a lot of different functions to them. You can cast, as well as you have these really cool AKG branded headphones as well. So a lot of nice stuff with that. We have vents coming out of the ceiling, nice suede headliner. And let's take a look at our door trim. So our door trim is going to be super nicely done. Leather across the entire top part, wood trim, cloth in the center section. And then you do also have quite a bit of door storage down in the bottom. And now let's go ahead and check out the third row. So in order to get back here, they have made it relatively easy. You just grab this little lever right here. That's going to fold the seat down. Once more, we'll release the seat up and out of the way. I would point out, though, you have to completely remove a child seat with this mechanism. I kind of wish they would do the, kind of tilt and slide setup so you wouldn't have to remove a child seat. But heading back into the third row, we have some really great news back here because there's a ton of space back here, about 35 inches of leg room and about 38 inches of headroom. Those are really exceptionally good figures for this segment of vehicle. If you get the ESV, that will actually expand your leg room up just a little bit more, so you have about 36 inches of leg room. Like I said, really great space figures. Even with the seat slid all the way back like this, I have about 2.5 inches of additional knee room. My feet can slide up underneath of the seats. And the thigh support is also quite good, even for someone who is 5'9" like myself. There are 3 seats back here, so that means overall seating capacity of this model is 7 passenger seating. As far as the features, we have a nice pad here, a cup holder, USB ports, and we also have vents that come out of the ceiling. I will point out, though, one thing that you are missing is something like a heated third row. Definitely for a flagship level product, I would have loved to have seen them add a heated third row, at least for 2026. However, as far as how it rates on our third row rating scale, I'm going to say this is definitely fit for adults. And let's check out the cargo area for the Escalade. I can go ahead and push that Cadillac logo to open it up. You also have a standard power tailgate, of course, on every single model with the kick ability. And let's talk about overall cargo capacity, because I think that's another area that you'll be pretty impressed with this Escalade model. Now, in terms of that number, it's going to be about 25.5 cubic feet behind the third row of seats, 73 cubic feet with those seats folded down, and as a maximum 121 cubic feet. For the ESV, that expands up to about 143 cubic feet of space. So if you need maximum space, definitely check out the ESV, but this regular wheelbase version is certainly enough for the vast majority of people. It's a great number for this segment. It's better than things like the QX80 and also very competitive with things like the Lincoln Navigator. Now, speaking of those products that you might be cross-shopping this Escalade with, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. We've looked at all the flagship SUVs on the market and ranked them in the most important categories of this type of shopper. Things like third row, cargo space, interior technology, luxury features, powertrain choices, and value are all detailed for you on our website. So if you want to make an informed buying decision for your next product, definitely check out our tools at carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now for features, over here on the side, you will notice that we have a power folding third row. That's actually standard equipment on every single Escalade model. You can also release the second row of seats back here, and then that will give you your maximum cargo capacity. And now that we've got them completely folded flat, let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures for the Escalade. Now behind Drew's 5'8" driving position to the rear of the cargo area, about 88 inches of length for the standard wheelbase model. From behind the second row of seats with them slid all the way back, about 52 inches of length is what you can expect. And then from behind the third row, about 19 inches. As far as the opening, 51 inches wide. That's very good. And the height is also very good, sitting at about 33 inches in height. Now, let's also get the load-in height. When I approached the rear of the vehicle, the air suspension just automatically lowered down to give me the lowest load-in height of about 32 inches for this model. Now, underneath of the floor, there's a little bit of extra space. We found that useful for an umbrella when we lived with an Escalade for a week. And then you also have a spare tire integrated underneath of the bumper. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2026 Cadillac Escalade. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, so you can see how quiet this flagship SUV is. But first, we need to start with a hard acceleration.
All right, there we are, going to 60 miles per hour. With the big V8 Escalade.
Gotta love the V8 growl.
Yes, it definitely has that in spades. So, like we talked about a bit with the spec dump, this has, two different powertrains you can choose. Both of them are V8s, though. The standard one, which is what most people will get, is the 6.2-liter V8, naturally aspirated, 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. They've been using this setup for quite a while now, and I think a lot of people really enjoy the power as well as the sound. And then, of course, you have the Escalade V. That's the big almighty Escalade. That one has just under 700 horsepower, so that's absolutely insane power.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, they do definitely charge a price premium for choosing that Escalade V, so be aware of that. But it's a 6.2-liter supercharged V8, 682 horsepower, so really impressive numbers on that. Now, when it comes to this V8, the horsepower, it's been passed up by some of the rivals when it comes to horsepower and torque figures, so that is something I want to point out. However, one of the things that really hasn't been passed up is the sound. I think it sounds so good, and honestly, I believe a lot of people would prefer to have the V8 growl and a little bit less power because it makes it feel like so much more of a premium experience.
Yeah, if the sales figures have any indication, people are definitely digging that this has stuck with the V8, but like Mason was saying, there are a number of turbocharged six-cylinder options out there which outperform this in terms of acceleration and just raw power figures. Now, coming to a stop here, I just want to mention the auto start-stop system is very smooth, especially for a big V8 engine.
Yeah, you might not expect it to be smooth, but it is very smooth. Now, let's go ahead and hit fuel economy as well. I'm sure you're curious about that. With four-wheel drive, we're sitting at 16 miles a gallon, combined with two-wheel drive, 17 mpg. If you choose the V, the performance-oriented model, that's 13 miles per gallon. So really not great fuel economy across the board, but when you buy a big SUV like this, I don't think you expect to get great fuel economy, and really the turbocharged V6 rivals aren't getting much better than this. So honestly, at this point, it probably just makes sense to keep the V8 if you like that V8 growl.
And you probably have the budget for plenty of fuel. As I kind of kick it down a little bit there, I will talk about the transmission. It's a 10-speed automatic transmission. This is something GM has been using across a lot of their lineup for many years, and we like this transmission. Even though it has a lot of gears, it doesn't really get confused too much, and it can certainly drop down many different gears at once to help you stay in the power band.
Yep. And now that we're just kind of cruising along the road here, I think it's a great time for us to talk about ride quality. That is one of the best elements about this Escalade, is the fact that the ride is really great. And it has been for many years. That's going to continue for 2026. There's a couple reasons why the ride is so good. If you choose anything besides that new base trim level, you will have magnetic ride control. So that's their kind of adaptive damper situation. And furthermore, if you choose a platinum grade like what we have today, that will give you the full air suspension. When you get that full air suspension, I think that just gives you that next level type of ride quality. Some in the class, still don't offer an air suspension, and it definitely, you can tell, it does not have as good a ride quality as this Escalade. Now, I will point out we have 24-inch alloy wheels on the outside, so that's really the largest wheel size that you can get on a car out of the factory. So if you want better ride, I'd maybe suggest getting 22s with the air suspension. That'll give you like the most sublime ride. But even with the 24s on the outside, this air ride does a fantastic job of compensating. It doesn't ride that bad at all, and really the only place that you'll notice some of the harshness of the 24s is maybe if you hit a big bump in the road. It lets in a little bit more harshness than you might would expect.
Right, but this road is not overly smooth, and I don't think you would notice that you have 24s unless someone told you. Yeah, this just has a way of making you feel like king of the road.
Absolutely. When you press that accelerator down, you're sitting up high. It does have a unique way of really making you feel special. Now, I think it's a great time for us to go ahead and get into our sound level reading going 55 miles per hour. We do have the rear climate turned off, and we have it on fan speed 1 up here in the front, so we can see how quiet this Escalade is. .4 decibels is what we are sitting at as our sound level reading in this Cadillac Escalade Platinum. Now, we don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to other flagships. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. And indeed, that is very similar to other Escalades that we've tested in the past. It's not going to be the quietest flagship you can find out there. The BMW X7 has been the reigning champion for quite some time. However, it is still a very quiet cabin overall, that's for sure. All right, let's get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball, our favorite and least favorite element. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the Slam Dunk of the Escalade?
The Slam Dunk is going to be just the all-around package of this Escalade. I think, not always is the bestseller, the best, right? But I think that people have spoken, because there's a lot of really good rivals in this segment of vehicle, and the Escalade just continues to outsell them all by,
a lot.
Like, it's not even close. And I think that just tells you that this really meets the expectations that a very discerning buyer has. And that's that they want to be spoiled and have a highly functional vehicle, and this certainly excels in that.
Yeah, it will continue on for years and years. Now, on the flip side, the Airball, what we're going to say for 2026 is, despite some pretty big price increases, we'll talk about that in just a second, they really haven't added some of those few luxury details that we'd still like them to add. Things like heated third row, I think, are pretty important at this point. The ventilated second row seats, honestly, on this Platinum, it should just go ahead and have them instead of you having to option on a $8,000 package to get that, as well as just things like these front seat adjustments. The massage is only on the back, it's not on the butt, and it also doesn't have the thigh extension, so you would expect a few more seat adjustments. So it's just a few little details like that I think they could improve the overall luxury experience of this Escalade. Now, of course, we need to talk pricing. Escalades are not cheap. They never have been. And for 2026, it's going to continue to get less and less affordable. The base prices have risen quite a lot. So the base model is $91,100. Now, the luxury, which used to be the base model, is $102,000 as a starting point. That does represent very big price increases for 2026. Of course, if you want the Platinums, those are going to be quite a bit more expensive, about $120,000 with two-wheel drive. We have the Platinum Sport four-wheel drive, which means we start at $123,000. We have the Onyx package, as well as a few options. The paint color destination is $2,600. All told, we're sitting at $133,260 for this model. Of course, the Escalade V is around $170,000 if you're interested in that, and if you're curious as to where it's manufactured, it is manufactured here in the U.S. in Arlington, Texas. Now, if you're looking to buy a Cadillac Escalade or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use while dealership negotiating. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, you can find a link to that down below in our video description, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. Buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's talk about resale and reliability. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Cadillac Escalade's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 40.7% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 14.65%. Now, it's worth noting those are lower than industry average for all vehicle brands. However, it is very much on par with other luxury brands such as BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you the most holistic picture. In this regard, Cadillac is rated a bit above the overall industry average for all vehicle brands.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a vehicle is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, that's also an important thing to consider. For your 50,000 miles is your basic warranty. Your powertrain is 6 years and 70,000 miles, and you do also get one complimentary service visit, which is pretty good for a luxury brand. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2026 Cadillac Escalade. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd appreciate you hitting that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.